Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Dropped Frames. Zeke's out there staying safe. He's doing
Gotta stay safe, man.
It's important. You know, you got to stay safe.
Very important to stay safe.
It's it's triple very important. Stay safe.
Very true. Very true.
Are those sunglasses rose tinted?
Yeah, they're my Twitch glasses actually.
Oh,
They're my Twitch glasses.
that makes
I didn't
sense.
have anything else. And these are socks, so I don't touch anything.
You know, I wear socks when I go to sleep, so on my hands as well. So
Why do you do that?
I mean, why not? You got to keep them warm. They're usually outside the bed, so.
You really do that?
What?
You really do that then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could wear gloves, but that just seems less fun, you know?
That just seems redundant.
Yeah.
I know someone who used to wear socks on their hands when they went to bed, but that was because they would pick at their face. I'm wondering if that was you. Like, do you pick at your face or poke it? Yeah, in their sleep, they used to do that.
Huh. I hadn't considered that. No, I don't pick at my face. I don't really do much. I'm a pretty normal sleeper. I just kind of lay there. I've never been one to sleepwalk. I pretty much go into deep hibernation when I sleep. I think only once.
You're not a snorer?
I think it depends how I sleep. If I'm sleeping on my side, no. If I somehow get on my back though and I'm sleeping upward, yeah, I'll snore like a motherfucker. That definitely just runs in the family for sure. But
no, the reason why I'm wearing this is because I wanted to show it off. This was handmade by a friend of mine.
Oh, nice.
Bree Evans. She was making them for her family and asked me if I wanted if I wanted one. So she made me one.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Cool.
With spider webs and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's important.
Anyway.
Have one of those. Anyways, hello. It's Wednesday. We're going to talk video games for the next 3 hours because that's what we do at this time on Wednesday on this show. You guys want to talk about this PS5 controller? Have you guys seen this?
I saw it. Yeah.
It's pretty slick.
It looked, is it just me or does it look eerily closer and closer to the Xbox controller?
Yes. It's
lie.
I'm good with that. I like the Xbox controller better than the DualShock.
I feel like PlayStation was like, all right, fuck it, we concede. The Xbox controller's better. we get it. We understand. But a
lot of people with big hands have always said that the PS controller is not great for big hands. So it looks like this is just a movement towards that.
Yeah, it really is. My not worry, but obviously with a controller like this, it's very hard to know if it's good until you hold it. I hope it has some weight to it. I hope that the D-pad there doesn't feel like shit.
I like cheap plastic.
Yeah. Are those only single triggers or are there two triggers on the top? Is it like
There's
R1
two.
and L2? Okay, it's just like the PS4.
There's not only
Or
two.
DualShock.
Unfortunately, it does suffer from the same thing as the last controllers, where the front part of the controller, the side that you plug the cable into, it actually rests on the triggers. So if you kind of put the controller down quickly, then there's a good chance you're accidentally going to hit one of those little triggers, as that is the point where it makes contact with the ground.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Makes sense. It makes sense. They're calling this let me go back to the PlayStation blog. The DualSense is the name of the controller. The new wireless game controller for PlayStation 5. Did they say anything else in this blog about what it's?
There's a black version, by the way. A lot of people were saying that.
Oh, really? That's good. I don't like.
Yeah,
that.
I think I saw a picture of it somewhere on the.
I saw a lot of. Are you sure that wasn't
reading
photoshopped? I saw a lot of photoshopped versions.
Oh, were they?
That might have been. Yeah. Okay. Chat's saying that's fan art. Yeah. I think people ran with the fan art stuff because, I saw one that was Kingdom Hearts themed, and I thought that looked pretty cool, but it ended up being fan art stuff. So.
I saw one that looked like a pair of sexy lady legs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Someone did a fan art with that in it.
Sure. Are they doing anything new? We changed the position of the light bar that will give it an extra pop on the DualShock 4. It sat on top of the controller. Now it sits on the side of the touchpad. giving it a slightly larger look and feel. Here's a top-down view that might look a little bit better. I had not seen this version or this view yet. Okay. That actually looks kind of nice, like from the top. It looks like that touchpad's raised a little bit though.
Well, they make it a button most of the time, so it may just detect the push a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well,
I like the stippled sticks. That's a good. That was something that I only had on my
on your Elite.
Yeah, on the Elite. There's
I really like that.
You can't see them. But yeah, the stipple like grips.
Yeah.
I like that.
I wonder if they'll go down the path of. Oh yeah, it is USB-C. That's also. Thank God,
yes.
I can get rid of
fucking
those.
Yes.
Fucking shitty. Ugh. What is this cable? USB suck. I think that's what this cable is.
The little trapezoid connector.
Yeah. What is this cable? Is this mini C? Oh, that's USB micro. Okay. I hate this cable.
Well, see the one directly before that, the more hollow one, for the PlayStation 2 controllers.
Yeah.
That was fine.
The thicker one.
And then they moved to this piece of shit.
Yeah, that sucks.
This piece of shit. Fuck this piece of shit forever.
Yeah.
I don't know why they even did that shit. Now they're going to the USB-C, which is thankfully they're going to the USB-C, and it's no direction.
Yeah.
When are we gonna have USB?
Yeah, USB-C is the big oval, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So much better.
Like the
so much
Pixel
better.
phones, Android phones, I think use that.
Yeah.
So much better.
I mean, I do. What I'm wondering is, when are they gonna make just USB inputs that you don't have to? They're not directional. When the fuck are they gonna do that?
Oh, you mean the other
You don't
end?
have to do it 3 times because you have to do it 3 times.
USB-C.
By the way, I don't know.
Yeah.
The new oval one is not directional.
I think he's talking about the other end of it. The like.
Oh,
yeah.
gotcha.
This end.
Yeah.
This
Their
end.
end. Yeah.
I think there are USB-C that are USB-C on or the oval. I don't know the fucking technical term. There's probably like, oh, that's USB-A. Okay, so yeah, you want USB-C to USB-C. I think those cables exist. Because like I have this monitor I just bought has a USB-C plug-in, and I would assume there's probably a USB-C to USB-C cable for that very reason. So, but I agree with you. Do your computers have USB-C on it? Like in the back?
No, not as a email.
I think I have.
That'd be nice.
I have one on like the front I/O panel, but that's it. On the back, they're all
That's
still
cool.
USB.
I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah. Zeke, who's your new friend?
This is Millie or Moomy or Moose.
Depending on time of the day.
Depending on the mood of the day of the house, I guess.
Right.
But this is my new housemate.
Nice.
She lives with me. And she is super old. She's 12 years old.
Dang.
And her back legs barely work. And her hips are going out.
Sure.
Her back legs, she drags around her legs everywhere she goes.
Yep.
And but she stinks and is needy and stuff, so I love her.
Yeah, she looks content.
Yeah. All right, we got a bed for you in here, you know that, right? Let's put you in the bed.
Man, we bought Ollie a bed. Classic story. Dog owner buys dog a bed. Dog lays on the outside of the bed, won't go on it. Unless I give him a treat on it, and then he'll lay on the bed. But the second I like walk away or close the door, he's fucking off that thing. He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she won't lay on the bed. She'll lay in front of it, on the side of it. She won't lay on the bed. I think the bed needs to be there though, for her to lay down.
Yeah, it might be the case.
It's just a proximity.
Exactly.
Just like around this area.
Yeah.
But not on
I was telling Co that now that I live with a dog again.
Yeah.
And a small dog at that, because when I lived with my brother's dog Jag, it was a standard poodle, so
bigger,
it was a pretty big dog. You know where it is at all times. Day before yesterday, I was streaming and I felt something brushing against my leg, and I almost freaked the fuck out because I forgot that this dog is here now. So just sitting there like, yeah. So this game is really great. No, Jesus, what?
Another dog.
Also, she doesn't hang out with me unless no one else is in the house because she's not real sure. She's not like 100% on me yet.
Yeah,
we haven't lived together that long, but yeah,
take some time.
Just keep some treats around you, and then she'll get used to. She'll hang around you more.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta do.
I think she's gonna start liking me because my legs perpetually smell like bacon. I don't know why.
There you go.
It's a disorder I've always had.
Yeah, bacon legs. It's real. It's a real thing.
The old bacon leg.
Yeah,
the old bacon leg. That's right.
Everyone knows someone with it. You know, it's pervasive.
Yeah. Bacon legs has touched all of our lives.
It really has. It really has. Jesus. That happened when I was playing Alex, by the way, in VR. I had I was here in my office, fully immersed in VR, and the cat like rubbed up against my legs as I was playing, scared the fucking shit out of me. And then I reacted almost like I was in VR. So I looked down, didn't see anything, and like stepped back. And had I not had the split second of like, oh, that's the cat, we probably would have had like a full on alinity moment. It would have been we would have been everywhere. We would have been watching things.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, it was during the chapter 7. It was me and Fred were hanging out, and the cat showed up, and yeah, it was not good. It was not a good time. So
well, that's the weird thing
I was
about
playing Boneworks yesterday, and my wife got the great idea to come up and like do the whole like grab whole thing.
Dude.
Oh man,
no, that's a relationship.
I definitely did like a flail when it happened, and I was later told that I was like it almost was real bad. Because sometimes when you get scared like physically, you just react physically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was man.
We have a clause in our relationship for me and Aaron. If anyone in the house is doing VR, you cannot go near them unless you make yourself known far before you get within 10 feet. You have to shout.
I'm entering the room.
Yes. Hey, I'm walking into the room. All right. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm going to get the dog. I'll see you later. That type of stuff. And most times she'll just join the chat and I'll just see it there. But yeah, you got to be careful with that.
You guys have such trust.
We do.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be careful.
Well, there was a moment like already where I was walking to the kitchen or something like that. It was dark in the house, and I was just walking, and I accidentally kicked Moomy, like not super hard, but
yeah,
I was just walking. It
happens.
So I was just like do, and I went boot, and I was like, oh my god, no! What have I done? No!
Did she do the dog yelp?
I kicked the dog.
Yeah.
And Katie was like, don't worry about it. I kick her all the time on accidents. It happens. Like she's used to it. It's love to her now, I guess.
Our cats like to, and I think most cats do, but we have hardwood floors upstairs, and so our cats like to just lay on their backs like this in the middle of the night. And so sometimes I'll go upstairs after streaming all day, and none of the lights are on because Aaron's asleep at that point, and I'll take the first step after coming from the basement, and just a cat will get hit. Just like broadsided on the side, and immediately just run across the house at Mach speed, and I feel terrible. So it happens. It's hard to see stuff.
Well, it's so weird that they forgive you for that. They forgive you.
Yeah.
I think they have to know, right? They're doing that.
You're still feeding them the next day, right? That's just
all that. Think of how many times your cat has like clawed you while playing or something. And you're just like, it's fine. My cat draws blood for me daily, pretty much.
Yeah, it goes both
ways.
Like,
you're so cute.
Yeah, it goes both ways. So, anyways, that's our pet talk for the week. It's a new recurring segment. That we'll have.
I love how everything is a segment.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to. You got to sound like you're structured. Otherwise, people think, "What type of show are you running?" You're just
flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for joining us for the segment review portion of our show.
It's true.
Appreciate you staying around for that.
Yes, we do. Thank you for being here. Might be back next week. We're still workshopping ideas. We'll see. Co, are you done with Bannerlord, by the way? We can talk a little Bannerlord. I got lost in that world of Bannerlord.
Yeah, I'm still really enjoying it. I may fill in some of the morning stream tomorrow with it because I'm doing the Control DLC now, and I'm loving that. I'm not quite done with it yet, but it's been really cool so far. And I'll probably finish that in the morning, an hour or two, and then probably jump into some more Bannerlord. I mean, there was a great new patch. I'm a tournament whore. I love tourneys.
Sure.
Like every time I see one, like I got to do it.
Yeah.
And this recent patch added experience gain to tournaments, which is just phenomenal because now I can finally, all those random weapons you get in tourneys, you can start working on those actually, and I won't get my shield broken in long fights, which is always pleasant. But yeah, they keep putting out patches that make it better, and it's already really fun. And it's so different. The more you play it, like different situations, different types of fights, you know, from different types of sieges to all sorts of open field stuff, and been really, really fun. I've been really enjoying it. The only things I'm not really digging is the experience gain seems to be really slow in some departments. Yeah. And also I'm kind of disappointed that there's not more like items and armor to get. Like there's a cool bit of like good high-end armor, and there's some named weapons from tournaments and stuff, but it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I got this weapon and this weapon, I'm good.
Right.
Like that's it. I'm good. And it's kind of like, at that point, it's a little unfortunate. But yeah, I've been loving it. I'm probably gonna play it more tomorrow morning. And yeah, it's been really enjoyable, kind of learning the Mountain Blade universe.
Yeah, I've put since last Wednesday, right after the shows when I jumped into it for the first time. I think what does Steam say? I think it was 30 hours. How many hours have I logged in this game? 29 hours logged since last Wednesday. I've restarted once.
How much have I put in?
You probably put in a good chunk. I think you might have streamed it more than I have.
37. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
You lose track
of shit like this offline, don't you, Co?
No, not this one. This one, there's too much progression played offline. Like there's too much stuff happening, and if like a big event can happen, and you can lose half your army, and it becomes a little, it becomes a little messy.
Yeah. I think right now it's the type of game where I'm going to step back from it, especially with other games coming out and stuff like that. But I definitely feel that I've hit kind of not all there is to see in the game, but most of what there is to see in the game, apart from like really truly grinding out the levels. I see.
Sorry.
Really truly grinding out the levels, like you were saying, because the XP without mods is very slow going, and it takes forever to get certain things. I know Strippin, who was on the show last week, he installed a mod called like Bannerlord Tweaks, and that changes the XP curve. So like he was able to get, I think, 2 stats up to like 130, 150 at the very beginning, and then after that it tapers off really quick. And he said that was kind of like a really good way to play it.
Somebody actually just said in my chat, and I can't confirm this, obviously, they did the math, and apparently the XP gain might actually be bugged at about 0.1% of what it should be. I'm guessing they mean 10% in that case. But yeah, I mean, I believe that. I would believe that XP gains at about 10%. Because like you, I restarted once. And my current run, I'm 25 hours in, and some of the main skills that I use are barely budging. Yeah. And ones that I use somewhat frequently are barely budging. And it's just kind of like, like I really want to progress down these paths, but like I can't like do more than I'm doing right now. So yeah, it's been a thing.
Yep. I think the first game that I played, I also played on very easy and then upped it to easy. The game has like a weird, like, I feel like they don't necessarily have difficulty figured out, maybe, because some things are just like, sometimes you'll just be standing there and an arrow comes from seemingly across the battlefield and you're one shot and you're dead. And then other times you can take like, and I mean, I know it has to do with armor and all that stuff and where the arrow actually lands, but sometimes you'll just take like 30 arrows and be like, no problem. Let's keep going on. And I see that in the tournaments as well, where there's also some issues with the AI, where if you go into tournaments and just hold down A and strafe and swing at the right, the AI just is like, well, he's too good. I don't know what to do. I guess I'm going to die. And then you end up with
I'll die then.
Yeah. So obviously it's still very early access, and we should also note that I think the game has been out since last Wednesday. There's been a patch every day, if not every other day. Like they're really,
and they've been patching like during the weekends.
Yeah,
like, they have been going ham on getting this game.
They really have. Yeah. And every patch has been for the better. There hasn't been a bad patch yet, I don't think. So that's been good to see.
They've got some. To be clear, though, for anyone that's hearing about this for the first time, there's still some pretty major bugs. Like saves will corrupt, and there's some things that are really not right with it quite yet.
It's still very early access. Let's put that out there. True. Like, we spend a lot of time with it and we both enjoy it, but like it's jank in a lot of ways.
Still very early.
So be warned about that. But everything else, it's fun. Like I'm having a lot of fun with it. As soon as I bumped it up to realistic difficulty, I think that's where I started seeing a challenge, and like that challenge made it more fun because I wasn't just auto winning seemingly everything.
Yep.
And that's been good. Like I started the new character on everything on realistic, and I got captured right at the very beginning. And like the first 2 hours, I just sucked. Like I didn't know what was. I would go and like die to looters after getting like 7 people in the army and have to start back at 0. I got a full cavalry army up to like 110 supply, and then I was roaming around with an AI army, and for some reason they thought it was a good decision to jump into like a 350 to 600 enemy army.
Yeah.
And I lost everything. Like it was probably like a 60 to 70,000 gold army of all cavalry, and they just died. Like I just lost them. They're just gone.
That's really frustrating when that happens. And the worst part is like sometimes the AI armies you follow will like almost seem to seek that stuff out.
Yeah.
Like you'll see them. It's like you know, like an Austin Powers skit where the car's coming. He's like, no, you know, and it's like slowly approaching him. Like that will happen for like a solid 10 seconds of a 300 army, like just heading towards the 12. And you're just like, no, no, there's no way you'll win this. No, he's not going to do it. Really? No, son of a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
That, and also I think the UI in the game is pretty bad. A lot of different UI elements in the game are rough. And I'm hoping that whether it's the game devs or the like seemingly incredible modding scene, not moderators, but modding scene, for the game fixes a lot of that. Cause there's just some things that it's atrocious. Like it could be so much better in so many ways. And I'm sure they know that, but if a modder comes around and fixes all that stuff, that'd be great. Yeah. But it's still a lot of fun. And this game's what, $30 or $40? I forget how much this game is.
I want maybe 45. Right now it is on Steam. 44 to $44.99 at 10% off.
Okay.
So normally 50 and it's 45.
That's not bad. Yeah, that's not. I think that's fair.
If you can deal with the early access stuff, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and I will also say, like, I typically don't like early access jank. I'm very adverse to it, and I had a great time with this. It's just fun riding into an army with like 30 other people on horseback right next to you, like humming the fucking Lord of the Rings music in your head and just cleaving a motherfucker's head off. Like that just feels fun. There's just something fun about that. So
when you say,
dude,
okay, 2 things.
Yeah.
When you say 30 other motherfuckers, do you mean are they all NPCs or are they actual
all NPCs?
People?
Yeah. All NPCs.
Okay.
All NPCs.
Yeah. Second thing,
only multiplayer, not army.
When you say they're humming the Lord of the Rings theme,
the music, not them.
You are humming it. They're not like.
Yeah.
No, I know it wasn't Lord of the Rings because that's copywritten. But I'm saying, like, are they all humming a tune with you?
No.
Okay.
There is a mod. Strippin did have a mod that hilariously, anytime a battle would start, it would like 0 to 100 play the Lord of the Rings music, and it was bad, but it was also really cool. But it was also really bad.
That sounds like the DMX thing. Like open their knock open. Like,
well, like no, that makes sense because it's like a shock. But this one is just you're just galloping, and all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam. You're like, oh my god, it's so loud. Jesus Christ. But it's not bad. I know the first Mount and Blade had like a fully realized Lord of the Rings mod, and I'm assuming they're going to do something similar with this. So that'll be definitely cool to see.
Zenith from my chat had a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
Put the EDF song in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah. That'd be really good.
Hell,
that'd be pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of the game is fun because of just ridiculous things that happen because of the way that the AI is scripted. Like I was in a tournament where I died, but it was a group tournament. It was like a 4v4 fight, and I died. And so I was watching the AI play it out, and it was 2 archers on opposite sides of the field, just like plunking arrows at each other. It went on for like 45 seconds of them just missing completely. And then they both let an arrow fly. The arrows crossed path in the middle of the field and then hit each other, and they both died. And it was just like, round over. You didn't qualify for the next round. Congratulations. And I just went on.
Sounds like, do you remember that game I played called Totally Accurate Battle Simulator?
Yes. Yeah.
Where you just have AIs fighting AI, but you set up your own AI.
Yeah.
And the last, like, that reminds me of that last, like, battle I had where one of my guys just kicked the other guys in the nuts and just won the round.
There's definitely things that happen where it's just completely ridiculous. And they also happen to you. Like, I've had multiple times where I'm on horseback with my entire army who's on horseback, and we're all pretty much in a line, like going straight at the other army, and a random spear comes out of nowhere, or javelin rather, just like chucked through the air, hits me in the chest, and I go flying off the horse and die.
Well, the best is like, or right through your skull. Like, I mean, sometimes it'll just like, you'll just be riding, you're like, man, this battle's going pretty well.
It's great.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That type of stuff
also,
is fun.
I gotta say, dude, I love, we did an Austin Powers reference. Let's cross that out. Let's do another old school one.
Okay.
I absolutely love in this game how you can get these gigantic 6-foot-long javelins stuck at various parts of your body, and you are just running around like nothing's wrong. Remember that scene in Ace Ventura 2 when he's got the thing? Like, oh my god, dude! At one point I literally had a javelin out of each thigh. And I'm just charging around in the battlefield, like with these 2 giant sticks just waving back and forth. It was so good. It's so good. And sometimes, man, on the hideouts, especially, if you go up against like the mountaineer guys that all throw javelins,
yeah.
By the time you get to the end, your entire army is just a giant pincushion. It looks like somebody came by with 30 javelins and just randomly stuck them into every single person that's still standing. It's so good, man.
Yeah.
The shields will be like just like a porcupine. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
There's a lot of nonsense like that. It's fun. The other thing that I started doing on the second playthrough is just whatever happened. I was not safe scumming anything. So if I lost everything in my army, I lost everything in my army and I got captured, and I just went with it. And that made the experience like frustrating, but in a good way.
I haven't done that yet.
It's hard because, dude, sometimes you're just like, especially if you hit a bunch of caravans, which is what I was doing. The generals don't like when you kill their caravans, especially if you're in their areas. And every once in a while, an army just shows up right next to you with like 500 people in it, and you just get demolished. If you're not going to reload and like ride out of the way, you lose everything. And so that's it. It happens, and it makes it fun. But if that's not fun for you, then it definitely is the type of game where you have to find your fun, I think. Because the game has a lot of different challenges and a lot of different ways to kind of change the difficulty of like, you'll take more damage, or your army will take more damage, or it'll be harder to recruit people for certain things, or that type of stuff. So you can kind of, gauge where you want the difficulty to lie in the game. And that's honestly great, instead of just having like one slider that's like easy, normal, hard, or very easy, or whatever the 3 options are. So I've enjoyed that aspect of it as well. I did not turn on permadeath though, because that just seems like a nightmare with how easy it is to die in this game. But that is also an option if you're a true masochist and really want to like make the game a burden on yourself. And that is an instance, if you die, or if anyone dies in your army, they're dead. And that can go for your allies, that can go for your like generals, that can go for you. And then I think you like can play your sons if you're married. I don't know how that works if you die in that game.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I think that there's a way, at least maybe in Bannerlord 1, that's where people got that. To where you end up playing like your lineage, so to speak. But yeah, that's it. That's Bannerlord. I'm curious to see where this game goes in terms of how long it takes to kind of get through early access. Did they put out a timeline at all for any of that code? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think right now they're just kind of focused on making the game like as playable and tight as they can. Since, they had a massive amount of success on Steam. Like, yeah. It's been huge. They've made multiple tweets and posts about how they're just like thrilled by everything and how they're so happy about how it's going. So right now I think they're just focusing on keeping it as playable as possible, getting the save fixes, save bugs fixed, and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah. They may have had a roadmap out. Oh, at least 1 year. Oh, Chad is saying. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think a year from, like, with how fast they've patched the game already, a year from now, this game could be completely different, in all the right ways, and maybe even also all the wrong ways as well. So it'll be fun to kind of see where they go with development on it, in and out of early access for that type of stuff. Yeah, 365 patches. That's what they're devoted to. They're gonna patch every single day, and see how it goes. I'm also, I guess, more interested in the mods a year from now as well, to see how crazy that stuff gets. But Zeke, what were we gonna say?
Sorry, hold on. Oh God, I live with a dog. I live with a dog now. I have to remember that. I heard like a, and I'm like, what the fuck what kind of alarm is that? Oh, it's my pug whining. Anyway, sorry guys, I apologize.
It happened.
God damn. I want to know about the progression of this game. Like, is there any sort of through line story? Is there like once like you're trying to become the king or the king of the lands or king of everything, or like, is there a point to the end of the game or their end game?
There is a main quest, and it does take you through a like, I don't really see this as spoilers because the game is by no means about the story, but basically the story kind of takes you around the world at first. And then after you've kind of made this journey, it's like, oh, by the way, there's this like ancient banner you have to assemble. And then when you do that, you get to like, at that point, start walking down quests like lead nations and things of that nature. So I haven't done that yet. And I have heard some people are having some issues with their games messing up during it. So it's another early access thing. But there is a very, very loose main quest that you can follow. It is important to mention, though, this is a sandbox game.
Yeah.
Like the 90 to 95% of this game is sandbox. And from what I also understand, even the stuff the main quest takes you to, you can kind of do that without doing the main quest. I think there's other mechanics in the game that can get you there. They may not be in the game yet, but there's, you know, almost everything you can do is available to you in a sandbox environment in some degree or another.
Yeah. Yeah. And sandbox in the sense of like, the second game that I played, I made a character named Strippin. And Strippin was only interested in having horses in his army. And because of that, that's like what I centered on. But Strippin, for instance, made a character who only wanted to have archers in his army. And so you kind of like make your own rules up as you go along. And I think that is both encouraged by the game, and it also makes the game more fun if you kind of make up rules for yourself and try to adhere to them as best as possible. And, you know, as someone who doesn't necessarily like sandbox games because of the lack of like, go here, do this situation. Yeah. And I'm usually that same way. Like, I still found you still want to get in fights. You still want to, you know, upgrade your army. You still want to get a bigger army. You still want to kind of see those numbers get bigger. And in doing so, you can just like make up your own storylines. Which is fun.
How many people can you play with on I'm wondering if there is like a GTRP like potential for this.
The multiplayer stuff seems only like competitive in nature, in that sense, and that it's like round based and stuff like that.
There's no like sandbox environments for people. Like when you're
like
in the main story, and you can walk around towns and stuff, but you can never do that with other people.
Yeah.
It's like the multiplayer is a Mount and Blade take on Mordhau, Chivalry, you know, that kind of environment. There's no real role play there. You're always doing objective based combat.
Now,
later though,
you might be able to mod it. Like there might be a modder who's trying to, you know, do that, because that would be sick if you could have an entire like the world map and those were all real people. Maybe something like what Civ 5 does, where everyone kind of takes a turn to do something. That'd be kind of fun to see. But
just to add real quick, apparently Mount and Blade 1 had RP multiplayer servers. And the modding community is already working on RP stuff for Mount and Blade 2. So
that could be cool.
Maybe it's just stuff we don't have now, but we'll be there eventually.
Yeah, that type of stuff would be a lot of fun to watch.
We're already working on a big Witcher mod.
So
that's
really?
Gonna be interesting. Like fighting hordes of, you know, like Witcher enemies and being able to go around the town and take contracts, or the world and take contracts and stuff. And that could be really cool, man, if done properly.
Yeah.
That could be really cool.
Well, because I think I think it'd be a lot of fun to see people like, because in GTA it's modern, and then they're eventually gonna start doing maybe a lot of Red Dead Redemption RP.
Right.
I'd love to see some like feudal RP with people like doing their shittiest like English and Scottish and whatever accents, like
having a lord
to see that.
Yeah, going to balls with your lord and ladies. Yeah, basically just be like, God, why can I never remember this movie? And it came up so often. What's the movie with Heath Ledger? Is it The First Night? No.
First Night, yeah.
Is it The First Night? Is that the name of it?
I think it's First Night.
Okay,
I'm not sure though.
Yeah, just
sounds right
because they used modern music.
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale. That's what it was.
What is A First Night? Is that a movie? Because I've said that multiple times. Hold on.
Sure, why not?
Well, Dark Knight. He was in that too.
It's a 1990.
I've done a lot of Night stuff. That Heath.
Oh, First Night is a movie with Sean Connery. Okay.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, where Sean Connery is Arthur and Richard Gere is
Lancelot.
Lancelot. Yeah.
The one with the Rock, right? Yeah.
The Rock's in it.
No,
I don't remember that.
He's not.
No, Welcome to the Rock.
Oh, I heard The Rock as well, and I was just thinking you were goofing.
Dwayne Johnson was a Knight of the Round Table.
Yeah. He was Guinevere. Obviously, that's who he played. Guinevere wasn't
great.
Even a Knight of the
That'd be a great Guinevere.
Yeah, he'd nail that. He'd be great. So yeah. Zeke, any more questions on the Mountain Blade 2? Are we good?
Since you guys kind of know me and know my kind of thing, and since JP, you said like you don't normally like stuff like that, do you think I would enjoy my time with it? Because games like this, now don't get me wrong, it's just a taste thing, it's just a matter of opinion. But for me personally, games like this are like masturbating with no climax,
Sure.
Just like, sure, masturbating feels good, but like I want there to be like an end. I want there to be like, yay, I did it, Which is what I do.
I want a happy ending, damn it.
By the way. Yeah.
There's very much not like there's an ending if you can find it. Like if you set a goal, like I had a goal, I'm going to get 100+ people that are all mounted in an army. I got that. Yeah. And then I took them into a fight and was like, wait a minute, this is not actually that good. Like I need to have some people on the ground because I just got obliterated by a bunch of people that just had spears and sat in a circle. Yeah. And couldn't do anything. You'll make goals for yourself. But that being said, I think it has enough of like a carrot on the stick to get to that point that you'll find fun in that. Now's the type of game that you'll like play for hours upon end. I don't know. That is really up to you to decide. And if there's other stuff that's pulling you away from the game, then that might not be the case. But
it's the reason why I played RimWorld, enjoyed RimWorld, and the reason the tipping point for me to actually try it for the first time, which was however many years ago or a year ago or whatever.
Right.
But what made me motivated me to keep playing that game was there was a way to win.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, I am moving towards something. It doesn't feel like I'm just digging in the dirt and then filling the hole back in and digging the dirt again.
There's totally a way to win in this. Like you create a kingdom and then you take over the world.
Okay.
That's it.
But it takes a long time to get to that point.
Everything.
Yeah.
You can defeat every single other kingdom on the map if you choose to. That's a big goal in this game.
It's very huge.
That'll take you hundreds of hours, most likely, unless you're very experienced. But another thing about this game, Zeke, it's also a little I don't know, you like games that I've seen that are just really fun to play, and you don't have to do a lot of micromanagement and things of that nature. And in this game, you can make armies that do that. You can make armies where it's just you hit F1, you hit F3, that tells every person on your team to charge, and then you go around lopping heads and stuff.
Yeah.
But I found, and I think JP will probably speak to this too, where a big part of this game, a huge part of this game, if you delve into it, is the actual tactical commanding of troops, lining up your archers over here, keeping your horses skirmishing, making sure your footmen are in position to charge only when your archers need help, and loose formations and shield walling and stuff like that. So it's a little more technical at times than it is fun. And what's even weirder is, the real fun for me in this game is riding around the horse with a giant 2-hand sword and just chopping people down. Yeah, that's awesome. Totally. That's where I get my most fun.
Feels great.
There's some fights where it's I know that I kind of have to not do that to manage the fight properly. So it's like you kind of have to sacrifice some of that to keep the stuff going the way you want it to. But in those cases, like there are times, like I had a very archer heavy army. If you manage that properly, you know, right when the map starts, you look for high ground, you move all your guys over, you line up your archers and loose on the top of the hill, you keep all your other soldiers ready to charge. The other enemy charges you, and before the other enemy even gets to you, your archers have killed them and they're starting to flee. And a lot of times that can happen if the other enemy is like twice your size, and then you've won. It's like, that's awesome. And in that exact situation, if you would have just charged in and had fun, like you would have been decimated. Like you would have been destroyed. So it's a little slower at times, but at the same time, it's not hard. It's not overly complex. Like and once you get the commands down, it's pretty easy and intuitive. But at the same time, sometimes it's like you have to like make sacrifices on doing the nitty and gritty to kind of take the more macro look at the battlefield and do the commanding.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone in my chat said you don't have to battle at all in the game.
No, you can be a caravan, a merchant caravan that just trades,
or you can just AI auto resolve.
Yeah,
like you can just let there's an option called send troops for every fight, and you actually get funny enough. There's an entire experience line devoted to doing that. Your soldiers get more experience, and you get more experience in a certain thing called, I think it's tactics.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to fight, so you can just like do the whole macro playing of the game. That's the world map, and at that point, you just kind of do all the management and stuff there, and kind of like let all the battles auto resolve.
Yeah, that it is harder to do that. You will lose more people, especially if you're on like a harder difficulty, if you auto resolve it, unless you're fighting looters, and looters are kind of like the basic unit that you can fight, and you'll only get wounded. Yeah, you'll only get your units wounded. So it's a great way to like grind XP, especially if you have like a rather rookie army that is like the base tier of units. You just go fight a bunch of looters and like auto resolve it, and then you get the XP and level up whoever, and then just kind of keep repeating, and then go sit in a town and sit there and wait for 3 days until people just get healthy again. But there's also, to the reason I showed this clip is there's also like castle sieging. It's not just open field combat. And the castle sieges are fine. They're a little like...
a little derpy.
Yeah, they're a little cookie cutter in the sense of like, you wait for the siege engine to get up, or the battering ram to get up to the door. The battering ram will take the door down. Then you go through the gates, or someone puts up a ladder and you crawl up the ladder and get to the top and like cut people up and that type of stuff. But like this right here is super fun because the enemy team's just trying to get out, and I'm on the other end of them, just chopping them down as they're trying to run through me. And it feels great when that type of stuff is happening.
It's kind of interesting because the AI feels really loose in sieges, which makes sense because sometimes there's like 1,000+ people on the field.
Yeah.
But just like JP said, like there are times when you'll just stand still, and the enemy who is trying their hardest to defend the castle will just run right by you, repositioning. Like not even try to attack you, just run right by you, and you're just sitting there like, oh hey guys, what's up? Or you could be hacking at them the whole time. Also, I had this one really great opportunity to try. Like I was defending from a siege, and I spent like solid 10 minutes like splitting up my groups of archers and placing them meticulously on the battlements and trying to get everything perfect. And then like the second the fight started, they all just did whatever the hell they wanted to, and everything got ruined. And you know, there's some really cool potential there, but I feel like the AI in the sieges is one of the probably bigger issues right now. It's just super weird how it works, and it's very basic. I'm hoping that's something they're going to kind of dramatically improve as they keep it going. But that being said, they're working right now on making sure sieges don't crash.
Right.
I have had a couple sieges that no matter what I do after 5 to 10 minutes, like hard lock. So, and they're working on getting that stuff done. They've already fixed a few of those bugs, but there's still a few left.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they work, when it all kind of clicks, they're awesome. And there's nothing more epic than like riding behind 50 soldiers while there's another 300 flanking on each side.
Exactly this.
Towers going in. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It is awesome. There's no other game that can come close to kind of the scope of some of these fights. It's really, really cool how they do it. The performance is surprisingly good. The AI on the open field stuff works pretty well. At times, although the movement of the formations is a little suspect at times, but yeah, all stuff they're working on. And sometimes again, when it clicks, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you always third person, or do you can you zoom out of the battlefield and stuff?
Well,
no, not first.
You can zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not really.
There's not like a commander view to see everything. It's first person or third person, basically.
And if you hold down the minus key on your numpad, you can zoom out about 50% more from the back of your character, which helps a little, but it's really not that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One other aspect, which I don't know if Co has messed around with at all. You can get a wife, and you can like.
Not yet.
Okay. So I have a really like fucked up story about finding my wife. In the sense of.
One I was in your stream for, right?
Yeah. I like found, so in game, if you press in, it opens up the encyclopedia, and the encyclopedia is like a real-time glossary of everything that's going on in the world. And it also has like all of the heroes, and you can search by like male or female. You can search by people that you've met. You can search by what kingdom they're under. You could just straight up search by their name. And when you like click on them as a person, it kind of brings up like their, stats, and you can see what they've been up to, where they've been recently in the world, what city they were visited at, and what's like happened to them.
Did you min-max your wife?
I min-maxed my wife, but it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets way worse. So
just wait.
I found stats of a female NPC in the game that were like crazy. We're talking like 200 plus and like one-handed, two-handed, pole arm. Yeah, just like a fucking savage battle maiden, right? And so I was like, all right, that's her. Where's she at? And then I click on her, and it's like, oh, fuck, we're at war with her. So then I'm just like, okay, well, I guess we'll just see what happens. Maybe if I get into a fight with her, potentially, there's a chance that if we win the fight, I could capture her and then imprison her in a dungeon and then have a conversation with her and see what happens. Because I didn't really know the process. Yeah. So we get into a fight, and I'm, riding around on my horse, killing people. And I see a random soldier, and you see me hesitate. I'm like, wait a minute. Is that my wife? We've never met at this point. And I'm just like, wait a minute, is that my wife? And I grab my two-handed pole arm and like set it up and go, wait, I think that's my wife. And then just take a giant swing and lob off her head. And it says, you've slain Abigail, who was my wife. So I ended up killing her in the battlefield, or wounding her, I should say. Got her as a prisoner.
I saw that.
Took her back across the world, literally, to a dungeon, imprisoned her. She wouldn't talk to me. So then I didn't know what to do. So I left her there in the dungeon and went and did some other shit.
Wait, hold on. You're saying after almost mortally wounding her, capturing her, imprisoning her, she gave you the cold shoulder?
Yeah, well,
I know.
Apparently mechanically.
I mean, women, right?
Jesus. Apparently mechanically you can't talk to prisoners in a dungeon or something like that. I don't know. And so then I left and went back to doing stuff. The story continues. She escaped the prison somehow. I still don't know what happened. And then about 20 minutes later, the leader of the army that I had sworn fealty to, which is a whole process, signed a peace treaty with her army. So then I went and found her literally across the world again. And you have to basically like roll some skill checks to see if you're going to get it, or like get her as your wife, or rather there's two steps. One, you have to see if she's going to be interested in you, is one skill check. And then the second skill check is if she's interested in marrying you. And then after you marry her, you have to go talk to her dad and buy her because that's how I guess it was done back in the day. And so I ended up paying for my wife. It cost me 4,000 gold. But after that, we were great. And we had 4 kids. Co was one of them. Strippin was one of them. Zeke, I think you were one of them. And I forgot who the fourth, maybe Dodger was the fourth or something like that. But yeah, that type of shit was like that was a 2-hour process, and things just happened that made it like hilarious and a silly story to tell. And none of that's none of that's the story. It's just stuff that I found on my own and created as my own type of story. And so it was fun.
I call you dad now?
I don't know. We'll have to get some counseling and talk about that. We'll have family therapy at a later date.
I think it'd be fun to, if you could, I don't know if you can, probably they might be able to mod it later or whatever, because this is a mod heavy game, right?
Yeah.
Can you change the names of like all the places?
Not
It'd be great
yet.
if you could, because then you could change the name like of like your like all the principalities or all the just the different areas
cities
of land that are owned by people or run by like baron, like, so you could go to war with, you know, or you could, you know, form an alliance with whoever.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like,
and just rename them to whoever.
I'm sure it's very easy to mod that in. Granted, I have no idea.
The game is hugely moddable, and there's a very talented, large modding community that have basically been waiting since Mountain Blade 1 Warband to like unleash mods into this one. So over the next year, just as much as the devs are going to be developing this game, you're going to see really cool, creative, big mods like coming out pretty regularly for this title. Yeah. Like if you're into modding, this is one of the games where modders kind of just go wild.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah. Long story short, Zeke, do I think you would enjoy this? I think you'd find some fun in it. How long that fun lasts is totally up to you. But if it's the type of thing where like you're interested, I'd say dive in, because that's how I was last week after the show, and I had a great time with it, and still have planned to like play it off stream.
If nothing else, it's worth a try for you for sure.
And you know, speaking from a business point of view, this game does really good on Twitch. Like really,
it's also really fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's also fun to watch people, because every playthrough is different. No one's playthrough is this. I have not seen a playthrough that is similar to any other playthrough yet, and I've watched a lot of streams of it. So, from like a business perspective, it's really good to watch right now. So, if that persuades you at all, then yeah, check it out. It's worthwhile.
I would love to see a Zirconia in this game. Just for the record, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's also the type of game where failing is fun, so don't get like frustrated if you fail, because then you'll learn why you failed, and don't restart from that unless you want to save scum it, which is totally a way to play. And it's really
why did you restart, by the way? What caused you to restart?
So the patches changed things. One of the issues with the game during like 1.2 to maybe 1.3, I think it was that sometimes armies would just steamroll, in the sense of like one army would just become the dominant power and would just take over them, or the kingdom. Kingdom would just become the dominant power in the world and like take the entire map, because none of the other armies like AI would be able to combat them very well. And so in a patch, they kind of addressed that and made it, tweak some numbers and stuff behind the scenes, and made it a little bit more competitive across the global landscape in that regard. And so I restarted because in my game, where I had kind of amassed a pretty good army, I had crazy amounts of money. I had probably 600,000 worth of equipment on my character, which is a sizable amount if you haven't played the game and don't understand that denomination. But it was just not fun, because like if I were to go to war with someone, it was going to be the army that I was in, because they had taken over the world. So I just restarted.
For me, like, I was having a great time, but unfortunately, again, early access thing. And this was something that was only in the game for like 4 or 5 days to the degree that I had it. But unfortunately, I got hit really hard by it. Basically, you can make a lot of money, and then all the towns are really cool features. You can walk around them. So you can just walk up to a city and say, I want to walk around this town. And then you can see like the dungeon and the keep and these things called workshops in them, and you can buy them. And then they start making you money. So unfortunately, I bought a few workshops and they were kind of bugged. So they started kind of going into overdrive, and all of a sudden, you know how JP just said he wore 6K worth of stuff, and that was a lot?
600,000.
I had a workshop giving me 55,000 gold per day.
Yeah.
So I actually just took like a little jaunt halfway across the map, and I was over a millionaire. And at that point, like, I was, you know, the best gear I could buy, I was just buying it off the store for fun, and like giving, you know, like I'd have something really good and I just drop another 90K to get something that was barely even better. And it just got dumb. So for me, I mean, a big part of these games is kind of like enjoying that grind of getting stronger slowly. And when you get like a big haul, it's really meaningful and stuff. And all that got lost with that bug. So I restarted, and unfortunately in my game now, I'm dealing a little bit with the bug JP was dealing with, where I have one kingdom that's kind of like 60-ish% of the map right now. But thankfully I've been keeping an eye on it, and it hasn't been expanding too much, and I'm pretty sure it's losing stuff here and there. So I think those patches may be working.
It
which
definitely
is good,
worked when I restarted.
For the record,
yeah,
this game is designed to restart many, many times. Like when you're making your character for the first time, you kind of raise them through their life, and you pick different events that happen, and those events give you like meaningfully large skill additions to different parts of your character. So you can like play a character that's super good at commanding armies, or super good at one-handing and horse, or you can make an archer. So you can, it's designed very clearly to be played many, many different times.
Yep. Yeah. It's very, unless you just put a shit ton of time into it, it's very hard to be like a master of all. You really have to be like a master of one type situation. And that kind of starts from the beginning of the game. Granted, some of the XP scales might be a little bit off right now, so I'm sure once they kind of address that, it might be a little bit easier to be a master of two things. But right now, it's literally like, all right, do you want a one-hander, a two-hander, or a pole arm? And then, like, do you want to be able to ride faster horses? Do you want to be a little bit faster in general? Or do you want to have, like, stewardship so you'd be a good governor or something like that? You can only really do a couple of things well at this moment in the game with how the XP skill stuff works out. So, but don't let that like dissuade you. You can still grab a weapon and use it
by design.
Yeah,
it's definitely by design.
You can still grab any weapon and use it at that point. It's just not going to necessarily have like additional damage from the perks that add to it. And the game's really
not only are there damage.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
I was gonna say it doesn't really matter too much how much damage you do. I'm gonna go and then we'll let you go. That's what we just got to start being rude to one another at that point. It doesn't matter how much damage you really do with a certain weapon, because like typically the game is balanced where if you can swing a sword and you have enough like momentum, it's gonna kill a motherfucker. So you don't need to worry about like, oh, I only have 10 skill in this axe. It's like, if you like that axe, just kill someone with it and you'll do well. What were we gonna say, Co?
Oh, and by the way, I'm working on a little bit of a delay today, so you guys will have to. I'm sorry about that. I've been interrupting you guys all over the place, but I do that normally anyway, so it's cool. But yeah, so basically, kind of like JP was saying, not only are there like little damage bonuses and stuff throughout that, but as you level up, a lot of times you'll get a split tree of picking different perks. So those are decisions that you make that are permanent to your character. So you might want to get like, 25% less of your shield breaking, or 4% more HP. So even if you have a max level character, there are actually different ways you can max level your character.
Yeah.
So at times there are going to be things that, no matter how powerful you are, you will have lost because you just didn't make that decision.
Yep.
So, again, adds to the replayability.
Yeah. So I think you should check it out. You'd enjoy it. Maybe check it out off stream if you're really that worried about not enjoying it. But like I said, it does well from a streamer's perspective on the channels that I've seen it on. So it might just be worth jumping in.
Okay.
Cool.
You might have sold me on it, but I got too many things like lined up right now, so it might be a minute before I jump into that.
Speaking of that, how's the Persona 4 going? I'm not going to show VOD footage because I think you're near like the latter half of the game, but you getting closer? You think?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be like one or two more broadcast tops, and I'm not like blowing smoke this time. Like this time, like I could finish it next stream or like tomorrow or the next day. I feel like it's going to be done. Because traditionally Persona games like go like one whole year, right?
Yeah.
You go like throughout an entire school year, your breaks, your time off and all this kind of stuff. And then it comes back around to like the beginning. So I'm really close to like completing an entire cycle or entire year.
Right.
And if like the plot as it stands right now it seems like it's going to resolve itself because we've followed all of the leads, the dead ends, the tricks the games play on you, like being that like, oh, it's this guy, but it's not that guy. It's like, really, it wasn't? Oh man, that was surprising that it wasn't that guy.
All the
3 dungeons in.
Yeah. Are you? Do you find yourself having? I think as a streamer, I think streamer fatigue, especially of games that you play a shit ton on stream, is real. Do you find yourself hitting that at all as someone who's about to jump into a Persona 5 Royale playthrough here in maybe a week after we beat Final Fantasy 7? Are you finding yourself hitting that wall at all, or?
Me? No.
Yeah, not at all. Still super into it every single day. Okay, cool.
I love it. I love that. Well, the thing is, the thing for me is it's like an event. It's like once a year I do CD-ROM-a-thon. Like I've done 2 of those, and I love it, but I know that there's an end to it. You know?
Yeah.
So once a year, I've decided that I'm going to play a Persona game. So anybody who's watching, anybody out there, no, I'm not playing Persona 5 The Royal.
Is that the most common question?
Soon,
I'm sure you.
Anytime this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you get that as shit.
For sure. Yeah. 1 Persona game per year is more than enough. Thank you.
Gotcha.
So yeah, next year I might tackle Persona 3. I'm continue my progression backwards.
Right.
Go from 5 to 4 to 3.
Sure, as one does.
And I saw Bikeman playing it a little bit, and it looks like there is some really cool like emulators and like quality of life, graphical updates, like really cool things you can do with the game. So I'm excited to see, like, if I come back to like Persona next year, that I'll check out. I'm excited to check out the new stuff or the
What happens?
People said the story is really dark, which appeals to me as well.
Yeah, it's super
P3.
dark. I mean, we talked about before the basis of the game. To summon your personas, you shoot yourself in the head. So that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the game.
That still blows my mind, man. Like
it blew their mind as well. You set that one up.
I should have thought. I really should have.
Did you guys practice that beforehand?
That's our joke. We've practiced for months now. We finally decided it was worthwhile to share it to the world. And we're glad that
that was good delivery, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, very well done.
Yeah, well done on that.
Very well done
on that.
Yeah. What happens, Zeke, when you're playing? As this is apparently a yearly event now, as you've just discussed, and everyone knows that when you say something on a stream, that means it's rock solid and concrete in terms of planning. What happens when you're replaying Persona 3 and Persona 6 comes out that year? Is that a dual Persona year, or do you wait till the next year?
I don't think Persona 6 is coming out next year.
Who knows? Atlas is crazy.
If that were to happen, if Persona 6 and Persona 3, I would I'd wait. I'd probably do it in February, because they usually release those Persona games like at the end of the year, like November, December, right?
Ooh, I think
P5 was released. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Because I think I waited a long time to play it. That's right.
I know you did wait a long time.
I started it in December.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe I'm not.
And then we'll be playing Persona 5 Royal Deluxe Edition.
Yeah, they're gonna package a third version for the PS5 that uses the new controller in it somehow.
Yeah, but for reals though, I probably that would be the point I'd make an exception. Yeah. If they announced it in the middle of me playing a different Persona game, I'd be like, well, buckle the fuck up. I guess it's the year of Persona.
The year of Persona on the channel.
Yeah. Those games are just so good. They're just so much fun, and they have so like just the carrot on the stick is so good. It's just like, give me one food pellet, please. Thank you.
I was talking to Coat. We were doing a bunch of tech discussion before the stream, and I was talking about how I finally got this 4K monitor set up for Final Fantasy, but I also have it for Persona. Seeing Persona 5, especially after watching a lot of Persona 4 from your channel, which is it's a PS2 game, but you're using the PS Now. Seeing Persona in like 4K. Yeah. Seeing Persona in 4K is like, Jesus. It had like a major impact on me. And it made me super excited for the actual game now. So
I got to say also about Persona 5 Royal, like, I knew there was new content and I knew there was like new music and stuff. But one thing that I had a long-term sub send me like a little list of some of the QOL improvements.
It seems a lot.
Dude, that alone like upped how much I want to replay it by a significant amount. Like you play the game for so long and you do some things that are just like, that get kind of, those little things that are like slightly annoying at first, but then by the end of the game, you're just like, why didn't they do this? And then it's like, you look at this list and you're like, oh, they did that and that and that. And oh,
right.
Man. Like, it's going to be so smooth. Yeah. Oh my Lord, dude.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
It's also interesting that Persona 5 Royale, I don't know if it's still the case. Chat will most likely correct me, as they always do. I think it's the best reviewed game of the year, if not on PS4. It definitely reviewed better than Final Fantasy did by a large margin.
Really?
Yeah. It got like a 94, 95 right now on Metacritic. So critically reviewed, I should say.
without the quality of life shit, it was fucking fantastic. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'll definitely be talking about all the like quality of life stuff because I'm gonna just tell my chat like if there's something new that wasn't in the base game, like let me know so I know that this is a different thing and can critique it accordingly. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We're gonna say something, Zeke? Are we good to move on?
Good.
Cool. What time is it? I think 20 minutes is enough to talk about Valorant, or Valorant, as I should say, because that's the proper name. So let's do that.
Valorant.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Is everybody fucking playing this game except me and you and like except us? Oh, you played a little bit, JP. Okay.
I played 11 hours of it yesterday.
Okay.
I played the shit out of it. I will also say that everyone is playing it, including not real people on Twitch, because there is a lot of, I don't want to call it view botting, but it's like account botting of people trying to get access by having a shit ton of accounts idling on streams. I think it reached up to like chat's gonna have to help me with this, 2.1 million or 2.3 million on Twitch yesterday, which might be the most I've ever seen in a single game before on the platform. It's definitely similar to what like Fortnite was at its heyday, and might even be also bigger.
JP, very important if you could also touch on for people that don't know why those numbers may be so big.
Totally, yeah. So the other thing, we talked about it last week, in the sense of we wanted to see what it was, because they've Riot Games, let's start this whole thing. Riot Games, the creator of League of Legends, huge fucking company, League of Legends, potentially like, a Minecraft type game in terms of its scope and size, is now making an FPS, which if you can see the screen right now and you're not listening to the podcast, it's very much like CSGO, which is another ginormous game with some added, with Overwatch abilities into it, which that's where we can kind of get into the granular details of it, because they're not as like strong as Overwatch abilities, but we'll get to that point. The reason why it's been crazy on Twitch is because people that were given alpha access to it, which was an event that happened a week and a half ago on a weekend, streamers were given access to this alpha event, and they were able to capture footage and show that footage on this past Friday. And Friday was kind of the big reveal for the game so that everyone could see, how it operated. But none of the streamers could play the game. They could play the VODs, which I still think was a fucking terrible idea, because everyone came away from that event, even though they were all, it was massive viewership and it had this huge push on Twitch. Everyone came from that event and just said, God, this looks boring. Like, it's not an exciting thing to watch whatsoever. A good portion of those people are now saying like, well, the reason that was boring is because streamers were just watching a video on their stream of the game that they had already played. And it wasn't like a normal stream where it was fun to watch in that regard. People are also still saying it's boring. But now, launched yesterday, those same alpha players that were in that alpha weekend have drops on their channel as well, and they're able to play it. So it's kind of a perfect storm of the only way to get access to this game is by watching streams and idling in their channels for however long. There's no set time. It's completely random, seemingly. And so because of that, viewership is just inflated to the nth degree. And yep. Some of those numbers are not necessarily like real people. I would say I don't have an actual stat, but a large portion of those numbers are not real people, but also a large portion are. A good example is like Summit usually average is, I would say 20 to 45 any given day, any given stream. He's averaging around 250,000, 200 to 250,000 viewers this past 24 hours. He's also gotten around 26,000 subs on his stream. And those are obviously real people for the most part. So it's definitely like a perfect storm of how that stuff is culminating. And it's also an interesting thing to watch from a marketing perspective for other games other multiplayer games specifically that kind of want to go down this process as well. Granted, I'm sure money exchanged hands to make this deal possible. It's not like Twitch just said, hey, we'd love for you to utilize our drop system. If you kind of did your whole thing on the platform, I'm sure they had to pay for that. Granted, I don't know any of the deals or even know if there was a deal in the first place. This is all hearsay. But yeah, it's just a perfect storm of like, here's a giant, one of the biggest game developers, especially on Twitch, and the only way to get access to it is by watching streams. And a good like side story to that is, because I guess I wasn't in the alpha weekend or something like that, my channel did not have drops and viewership was fucking abysmal because of it. Like I did not see any bump. And so what's going to happen when the drops go away? I don't know. They kind of went away last night, but I think most people were already idling, for multiple hours after that. So they kind of just let the stream, they left it on at that point. But a week from now or even a month from now, is it still going to be pulling the same amount of viewership? Probably not, but it's a Riot game. It's an FPS that's very similar to CSGO, which is a very watched game. And so everyone that plays CSGO is trying to play this. So it'll probably still be pretty good viewership-wise. Now, with all that said,
if they start doing...
Yeah, did we actually talk about the gameplay at all?
Yeah, we're going to get to that, but go ahead, Go.
I was going to say, especially, like, one of the big things that I think a lot of people are excited about is the fact that since it's Riot behind it and they really are going to be pushing this hard, like we may start seeing really big, meaningful tournaments in this game. We might start seeing like an actual developed large esports scene, kind of like Overwatch wanted, but it didn't really kind of like pan out quite as much as they wanted. That may kind of move over to this now. So, there's at this point a huge, I don't even play these games and I can see the huge amount of potential that this game has to become something much, much larger than something we've seen for a while, because we really haven't had a CSGO since CSGO. This is kind of the closest thing to it in a long time.
Yeah, and to be perfectly clear, like CSGO still on a tournament weekend pulls absurd numbers in the grand scheme of things. Like it still, will pull 1 million watching said tournament. Like that game is fucking huge. So it makes sense that this game would also be, because of how similar it is to more 1.6 than CSGO, but Counter-Strike in general, it's still going to probably pull pretty good viewership. And Co, you couldn't be more right in the sense that they're building this for an esport, because like the post-game summary stuff, it's broken out so that you have a mini map there and it has a timeline of what happened in that game, every single round, who got what kill, where that kill was, with what gun, where they shot them, if it was 2 body shots and a headshot, or if it was a straight up headshot. And they have that for all up to 26 rounds. And it also has like ESPN style stats of like, what was your average score or your economy? I forgot what the actual thing is, but like, what was your economic percentage in terms of when you had an economy round, a save round, how well did you perform in that save round? So those type of stats are something that you can kind of go and tell anyone about for the most part, and they're going to understand what it is.
It's kind of a perfect storm for like a broadcastable, watchable game that you're not playing. And also for commentators, I'm sure they're looking at this like, because there's an army of really talented esports commentators that have become more and more well known as these things kind of gain in popularity. And I'm sure they're looking at that and just drooling over the amount of information that's going to be easily available, most importantly, easily recallable.
Yeah.
And, they'll be able to kind of just go through rounds meticulously explaining what happened. And especially, on the giant tournaments, like they could use those resources to talk about those things for days, pretty much, about like what happened and what went wrong and who was the star and, who let down their team and, like all sorts of things. It's going to be really interesting to see how the community embraces that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It may set a new standard for these types.
Probably, yeah. Riot, they have the LCS. They have giant, for those that don't understand, LCS is kind of League of Legends Championship Series, which is a giant global event. They've been doing esports for a super long time. They understand how that works, and they've kind of built everything and caked everything into this game so that from the ground up, it's there. It's not something they have to add in after the fact. It's there at the very beginning. And that's super important for like the longevity of an esports title.
Also, one thing to add, there's, I've seen a lot of people complain about how the gameplay is kind of slow and how the levels seem kind of not really super full or they say well designed, But what I actually think they mean is they are kind of corridory and things. And a really interesting reply was actually done by not a big esporter, a guy named Bikeman, and on Twitter he was kind of talking about this. And one thing that's really important about the games like these is these games are designed to be all about like the angle. Like all these levels are super angular. So the competition resides more in like aiming skill and, you know, reaction time than, you know, knowing where all the little gimmicky parts are on the level. Don't get me wrong, that's there, of course. But it's by design that these levels are kind of like large, open, lots of hard angles, lots of corridors, you know, things of that nature. So it's going to be cool to see, like, even though apparently a lot of people feel it's not as fun to watch in an environment like this, I wonder if the translation into people being able to appreciate the more skill-based approach will actually translate into more people wanting to watch it as an esport.
Potentially, yeah. I think I was watching Dr. Disrespect, and he kind of hit the nail on the head where, like, for the people that watch, you know, a lot of like Call of Duty, this game's unbelievably boring to watch for the most part. I don't want to generalize everyone into that, but like, it's generally a boring fucking game to watch. However, if you're someone that like has played any CS, is someone that loves to like be the elite gamer, as he puts it, someone that loves to like hold corners, dial in their fucking sensitivity to like the 7th fucking percent, like 3.176 blah blah blah, and like really just dial everything in. Yeah, repeating force. It's a pretty good game. Granted, the way I described it yesterday, and I haven't found a way better yet. I'm still kind of struggling with that. The game feels really light, and I think what I mean when I say that is it feels kind of mobile-y, in the sense where like CS had like some weight to the general game. This just feels very light, where like the color scheme is very like pastel-y, I think, to make up a term there, but it uses a lot of pastels, and it's not very, there's just not a lot of like emotion to it. I don't know. It just feels weird to me a lot of times is how I'm playing it. And I don't know if that conveys into actually being something worthwhile talking about, or if that's just how I feel about the game. But it's weird. It just feels weird. Granted, I love playing it. I mean, I played 10 hours yesterday. And I definitely woke up this morning like, can I fit a round in before we do drop frames, or should I just not even like chance it? I didn't chance it. I'll be playing after this, but I want to play more, and I want to like go in and like, all right, I need to dial in my like shot with the AK or whatever, or the AK equivalent, whatever it is in this game. And so that's
a great sign, man.
It's scratching that itch, right? Like I'm enjoying it to the fact that I woke up wanting to play it. And it was like the first thing that I thought about this morning in terms of like, oh, I'm excited to go stream this game. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get into another competitive FPS. But
as probably the person that has played the most Counter-Strike of all of us, do you think that this, like, now that you've actually spent a lot of time with it, do you think this could be like the next Counter-Strike kind of thing?
The next Counter-Strike type of deal is kind of like WoW, or like what will be WoW?
Yeah.
What will be the WoW killer? World of Warcraft will eventually kill itself. CSGO's it's that type of FPS that will like never really die. And in some cases will only always get bigger. If anything, I feel like this game's going to be so compared to CSGO that it's just going to make CSGO more popular. And then you're going to have, just like how like Dota and League are always fighting with one another, this game's always going to be kind of like fighting with CSGO, which is not a bad thing. And if anything, it will kind of make Valve look at this and say, hey, is there anything we want to take from this? Or it'll make Riot, which they already have, look at CSGO and think like, hey, is there anything extra we want to take from it? Because we fucking took almost the whole game. It's not necessarily a unique idea what they're doing here. Because it for the most part, and it might also be because it's only, you know, people have only spent so much time with it. If you can aim well in this game, you can ignore the abilities entirely and never have to like worry about, oh man, my ult is up. You can just aim and kill people and you'll do fine. The other stuff is like, it's impactful enough that it changes how you're going to approach a situation, but it's not like, oh, he has his ult up, fuck, I'm dead. It's like, oh, he's got his ult up, I need to do this to combat it.
I saw that one guy that can throw those blind orbs around corners. Like,
oh, the flash,
damn, dude.
So those are flash nades. Yeah.
I was watching a dude that got blinded. It was like a solid 2 to 3 seconds. It's
that's
not
how it
like
is in CS:GO,
you can barely see through it.
Yeah.
You see nothing.
I mean, when you get flashed in CS, it's the same thing. It's the type of thing where when people get good enough and understand that that's about to happen, you're just going to flick 180 so that you're not blinded and then flick back and like shoot them.
Oh, okay. That's how you have to be looking right at it.
Yeah. And
that makes a lot more sense.
That goes across the board. Like there's that person right there with the arrow that's on screen. They shoot a thing on the wall that then kind of does like an echolocation. And if you're in line of sight where that thing landed, it'll show the team that fired it where you're at. But if you see it land and you shoot right away, it'll immediately destroy it. But then, of course, they know that there's someone in that general area. So it's kind of like a give and take in terms of how you want to approach it. Really, the biggest thing I think that the abilities do, and keep in mind, like, I'm by no means a pro at this. I'm a very average FPS person compared to a lot of people. A lot of the abilities are like area denial type stuff. Like this right here, that basically means like I can walk through this, but I'm walking in blind to this other corridor. So the same means for the inverse. Like if someone wants to come through there, they have to walk into that site blind. There's an ability that I have on this hero, which is the like healer hero, which can heal and also res people as her ultimate. Her C can just like wall things off completely, kind of like Mei does in Overwatch. You can shoot the different ice blocks, but it takes almost a full magazine to do it, like a full round of shots to do it. So if you're like loading into this thing or trying to destroy this thing, people are going to know exactly where the fuck you're out because sound is king in this game. Sound is actually probably more important, or if not on the same level as aiming. And that might be one of the other issues. I wouldn't say issue. You can hear people in this game that are like stupidly far away if they're not walking. You have to walk everywhere or people will just know exactly where you're at. And just like I've done, they're going to follow you through the wall. They're going to know that you're coming in this corridor and they're going to sit on a corner and just line up the headshot before you're ever even in the room. The second that you walk in, you just get one tapped and you're dead. And the faster people realize that,
Tarkov.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I haven't played Tarkov, but I'd be curious to see like if the sound is actually louder than it is in Tarkov, because it very much feels that way. But yeah, that all said, I'm still enjoying it.
And real quick before we leave, what's with the cam?
Whenever I play FPS's game, or whenever we put FPS on the channel, PJ has to play so that people understand that even though I'm a raging psychopath who uses a lot of naughty words in that situation, it's not me, it's PJ. It's my alternate personality. So
cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, FPS games and me, while I love them, they really get my blood boiling sometimes. So we just kind of set that perception right out of the gate so that people are not worried if I'm okay, or they can't see how red my face is at any given moment, because it's grayscale. So yeah, that's just how that goes. So
like Soda My Chat says, it's his gamer personality.
Yes, there are a lot of gamer words said in those streams, without a doubt. So there's only 3 maps right now. I like the 3 maps. They're not necessarily like, do I think they're going to be the DE Dust 2 type feel? Not necessarily. But that said, I still enjoyed them. I'm still learning them. There's a lot of different things that are unique to these maps. One of them being on the left side of the screen, you'll see that line that goes all the way to the right side of the screen in the top left. It's a teleporter, so you can go from one side of the map to the other side of the map in an instant. However, it makes a shit ton of noise when you do it, so if people are near, they're going to know that someone just took the teleporter. Someone was telling me earlier today that you can actually throw your pistol through the teleporter and it will make a slightly different noise, so you can kind of like bait people that way, which is kind of fun and kind of a unique thing that I want to mess around with. But that type of stuff just kind of adds a uniqueness to the game that I still want to try and figure that type of stuff out and dive in some more. I only spent 10 hours with it yesterday, which seems like a lot to spend with the game, but this is the type of thing where people are going to be playing, you know, hundreds and hundreds of hours in it, trying to dial everything in and figure out all the little nuances of it when it comes to the gameplay of like, it's the type of game where people are going to sit in the training thing and shoot an entire 30 rounds and look at the spread of the shot at 30 meters so that they know to pull down and to the left with their shot so that their spray is most of the time going to line up in the body of someone that they're pulling or that they're fighting, you know, 30 yards away. That's the type of game that you're getting into. If that's not something that you want to get into, you're going to get absolutely murdered in this game and you're not going to have a fun time. Which CS players are going to reign king in this game. And if you're not someone that like wants to dial in your shot, I don't know if you're going to have fun. It's not like Overwatch where someone has an ult and can generally always get a kill with it. It's someone has an ult, we have to react accordingly to that. And if you do that, it doesn't matter that you have an ult. Which, you know, I have my own thoughts about it. I, as someone that played so much Overwatch, kind of enjoy that now. Is it something that, you know, 100 hours from now, I'm going to think is just a complete joke? Who knows? And they're probably going to change the game a shit ton as well from now, 100 hours from now of playtime. So definitely interested, definitely enjoying it. Want to see more and want to see where they take it for sure. In terms of complaints, I guess people are really talky in this game, and not necessarily the players. The NPCs are super talky. And you can turn all that stuff off, but sometimes when a NPC talks, it's because like they're ulting. But everyone's got like character. Everyone's got a personality.
Hold on. NPCs? What do you mean NPCs?
Sorry, the
characters.
The characters that you're choosing, not NPCs. Sorry, so that was the wrong term.
Oh, yeah, so like in Overwatch, be like it's high noon, like that kind of stuff.
That type of shit. Yeah. Except this one, it's a
Not
British
banter.
Yes, it's a British guy going like, "Hey, bruv, I'm on fire," and you're like, "Come on, I don't give a fuck if you're on fire. I'm trying to listen to this guy's footsteps through this wall. Stop talking."
Oh, dude, yeah, that would be fucking annoying, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But also, you can't turn all that stuff off because that same guy, when he ults, and his ult is the type of thing where it basically gives you an extra life. So you can like ultimate, run into a site and take like 2 shots, and then you go back right to where you used that ultimate as if you never died, which is pretty strong. But if you hear that, you kind of know that and expect someone to be rushing in or someone to be using that ultimate. And I haven't like figured out what all those calls are because it's not as distinctive as something like it's high noon. It just sounds like nonsense to me at this point. It sounds like a fucking British guy with a really bad accent saying like, "Oi, I'm on fire." And okay, cool, man. I don't know what that means. Like, why are you on fire? Do we don't want to talk about this? Like,
"Oi, mate, time for the old chimmery."
Yeah, like yeah. I don't, and some of the voices are not distinctive enough to where I just understand what it is. And so that's something I just got to learn, and something that'll take a lot of time. Where now, like everyone knows it's high noon. That's McCree's ultimate. I don't think it's on that level of, I don't know if that is like good voice acting or good voice direction or good game direction. Like what makes that so, 1-to-1 with like, hey, McCree's ulting. I don't know what it is about that nails that, but this game definitely needs that right now.
I think that's what my next question was going to be. Overwatch might be the last time I enjoyed playing a multiplayer shooter game.
Yeah.
Like it might be the only multiplayer shooter game that I've enjoyed since GoldenEye before that. But the personalities in Overwatch were so vast and different that you could latch on to certain, like their characters, the look of their character, the way they spoke, their ultimates, like kind of defined like who they are. Like, is that in this game, or are they pretty much kind of like just cookie cutter a little bit?
It's kind of bland. Like the characters are very much like they're very distinctive and very, very different.
Okay.
But from like a production standpoint, they're a little bland and kind of muted. And I think that kind of goes for maybe the whole game. Like the art style of the game is pretty simplistic. And I think a lot of that, it just has to do with the fact that they want this to be able to run on like every machine possible. Because they want to be accessible to everyone that wants to play it. And it's also going to be a free to play game, which kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said. But yeah, like they're definitely not as like, I don't have a favorite character because they're my favorite character. I have a favorite character because of the abilities that they have, if that makes sense. Like it.
Well, yeah. But like what I'm saying, like in Overwatch, I played either support or tank characters because I can't, do the Twitch reaction shooting and stuff. But I started to kind of like enjoy the quirks of my character. Like Reinhardt had that, that gruff old guy like Hasselhoff. Like I love Hasselhoff. Kind of a feeling to him. So I didn't mind like jumping into that character. It was more immersive that way, because he had a distinct personality.
Yeah, I don't get that yet. Might maybe ask me that next week after I put some more time into it. Because right now, like I just hear nonsense spewed at all. Like I had to turn the voices off at one point yesterday because I didn't know what the fuck was happening, and I was in Discord with people, and like there was 5 people in Discord. There was 10 people in the game that were constantly just bantering back and forth, and none of it actually meant anything. It was just like you would kill someone and I keep going back to him, but it's because I'm kind of annoyed by him. The English guy would just be like, "Oi, tough shit, mate." And you're like, okay, cool. I don't know why you needed to say that. Wait, can the other team hear when I say that? Oh God, what if like this talking means that they can hear me? I don't know how okay, I need to figure this out. Like it's that type of situation. Because sound is like so important in this game. Whereas in Overwatch, it's just a cacophony of nonsense constantly being said, which doesn't really mean too much. In this game, if you make one footstep because you let your pinky off of shift for a split second, 5 people immediately turn to that corner and just sit there and watch it. Like sound is like unreal important in this game.
But also in Overwatch, like something like you're almost constantly moving in Overwatch, and this, or almost constantly sprinting, running.
Yeah.
Like in this game, you walk, you sneak, you peek and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I know there's nuances that I'm missing. Totally. I'm saying like the pace of the game is so much faster that the voice like and the sound of it like are absolutely necessary. It seems like it's counterintuitive to put all those voices in there.
A little bit
to hear shit.
Yeah, and maybe that's kind of a struggle that Riot's going to see themselves have is how do you make interesting characters in a game where you don't want to fucking hear characters talk, right? Like, how do you create storylines around those characters or make those characters interesting when the players don't necessarily care about them, right? Like, or don't care what they have to say because sound is so important. I don't know. That might be a big struggle for them. For kind of, I think the casual, or not casual, but the non-hardcore people that are tweaking their sensitivity bit by bit, right? Like, is the average normal game, is someone that plays Animal Crossing on the daily going to jump into this and be like, let's play some Valorant and walk into it and have I'm going to pick this character because I like his pants. No, you're going to walk into the first game and get fucking obliterated by someone who's holding a corner and just like knows how to control their spray better. And you 5 morons walked into it, right? Like it's not going to go well. And it's not going to,
so would you say
it's not a fun game to lose? Let me also be clear on that. It sucks to lose in this game, which might be an issue as well, but you get better faster from losing in this game as well.
Would it be fair to say that this game would benefit from moving one way or the other? Like more towards CSGO or more towards Overwatch?
I think that there can be a balance there, and they have a pretty good spot right now, but I think it does need to be tweaked a little bit towards one or the other. And that's going to be a struggle that they run into. Because, like, on one side, it's do we want to capture, like, the esports scene and the professional scene and, like, the hardcore gamer scene? Or do we want to capture like people that are into the characters, right? And I think League does a pretty good job of that. Like, I was never the biggest League of Legends player, but from kind of watching that community, I feel like people love certain characters in League that don't necessarily play League. Like, or hate certain characters that don't necessarily play League. Like Teemo, I think for a while there, eons ago when I played that game, generally was hated, but also generally loved by certain people. Like, that's the sign of a fun character, is when people love and hate him. Or love or hate him or her, I should say. And I don't necessarily get that from this game. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, you're playing the healer lady. I think her name's Maya. Like, I couldn't tell. She has no personality that I've seen from that at this point. And so they kind of have to like find the balance for that. Oh, it's Sage. Is Maya just Maya's the character from Borderlands, which kind of looks like the character, I guess, now that I think about it. But yeah, like
is it a game that I could jump in and fill a role, or do I have to be good at shooting?
You got to be good at shooting. You would fucking hate this game. You'd play one round and immediately alt F4. Okay. And I think that goes for a lot of people. Cause it's like aim is king in this game. And if you don't have the patience to like sit on a corner and wait, and you just go guns blazing down the middle, one, they're going to hear you from a mile away going guns blazing down the middle. And two, they're going to sit on that corner. The second that you walk into it, you're going to get headshot and just think like, well, fuck, this game sucks. Like this game.
I was seeing experienced players run into that when I was like, I mean, there was a streak of a larger streamer who is currently streaming right now. And he got like 4 or 5 deaths in a row where he thought he was going around a corner. He didn't think someone was there. He'd literally just like right the second he was around a corner, just pop.
Yeah.
Then it'd be like, well, damn, okay. And then he'd say like why that happened. And then the next life he'd go like a different way. And then right around the corner, pop. Oh, okay. Well, that happens in this game. And let's keep going. And yeah, I mean, he was, first time I was watching, was really good at the game. And he was still just kind of there was a period where he was just getting killed, decimated pretty much.
Yeah. In terms of the actual skill level within the player pool of the people in beta for this right now, yesterday when we first started playing, there is like, I wouldn't call it hidden matchmaking, but there is some sort of skill-based matchmaking in the unranked matchmaking that we're playing. In the beginning, like, I think the second game I got an ace, which is where I killed all 5 people by myself, and like generally was doing very good. 7 hours later, after that matchmaking rating had been adjusted, I was getting fucking murdered. Like I would enter into sites and just get lit up in like a second by people that were much better than me. So I think that there is a decent amount of player diversity in terms of skill right now, to where you can get in there no matter what your skill level is and have like a decent amount of fun. But the second that you run into someone that has 100+ hours, and that's a super minimal amount of time in CSGO, you're not going to have a fun time. No one's going to have
fun time. And just like CS, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. And there's going to be even more of a barrier for entry as people really learn the maps by heart.
Yep.
They start knowing exactly where the easy kill corridors are, exactly where they need to be to get a shot off before they're seen. And like, that was an art form in CS. And I'm sure it's going to be just the same in Valorant.
Yeah. I mean, we ran into, being me, Jericho, I'm blanking on Dylan Francis, Gold Glove, and I know what team Optic Diesel, now just Diesel, I think. Generally like a pretty good team of people that play FPS games. We played against a guy named Weep, WHEEP. No idea if he was like a former CS pro or what, but man, he just mopped the fucking floor with us. Like he before the half, which is 12 rounds, I think, he already had 30 kills. And to put that in perspective, most times you'll have like 15 if you're doing pretty good, or 20 if you're doing pretty good. This guy was at 30. Like he was just entering, and he was getting 4 kills a round at some points, multiple rounds in a row, just absolutely obliterating us. And it's because he had that CSGO aim. Like he was patient. He knew to like watch corners. He had his mouse dialed in and all that stuff. So was that game fun? No, we kind of all wanted to get out of it, and we're cursing his name every single second. Then we got into the next game, and we were against people that were much more our level, and we had a lot more fun.
But JP, if you're going to get better, you got to play better players, man.
Yeah. I 100%
You gotta be able to play to get better, though.
No, trust me. He taught me. He actually did teach me a lot of stuff just from dying to him over and over and over and over. However, it was not fun. It was frustrating as shit to get absolutely mauled every round. But that's just how these games go. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I never thought we would see another game to kind of remove from the actual game itself, but more along like business and Twitch. I never thought we would see a game that was similar to Fortnite numbers. But I think this game might, at least for a little while, be similar to Fortnite numbers. Like you're already seeing sub counts raised to those like absurd levels that they were during kind of the heyday of Fortnite. I think the big tell will be like what happens when the drops go away.
Yeah.
Like if I was Twitch, and who knows if they're doing this, they might be, they might not. If I'm Twitch, I'm looking like, all right, we got to get like a Twitch Prime skin in there. Like we need a Twitch Prime gun like right now. Because if they drop the Twitch Prime gun in this the day that it goes live, holy shit! If you want to talk about like streamers, one, having a great day, and two, super excited to stream this game because they're having fun with it, but also because they can get Twitch Prime subs. Yeah, like that's a way to do it for sure. And that's kind of what they did with Fortnite, right? Like that's why Fortnite had so much success over a long amount of time, is because the developers in Twitch worked and had some synergy there in supporting the games. So we'll see how it goes. It's also the perfect time because everyone's inside. No one's outside doing anything because you can't go outside legally in a lot of places, most places. You shouldn't, at least. But, you know, people just want to play games. So we'll see how it goes. I'm very curious to see what this game looks like a month, 6 months, a year from now. It's all types of game where I think it might become something that I play a lot offline. As the channel has kind of changed, my channel specifically has kind of changed from being a FPS dominant to more like single player variety style playthroughs now. Definitely want to jump into ranked. Definitely want to like play more ranked stuff in this, as I'm sure they're going to have like a skill system where you can like rank up and all that shit. And just like they had in Overwatch, that type of stuff will be fun. As long as I'm not playing against like the professional players getting obliterated every round, because that's not fun. But if I'm playing against people that are my same skill level on a constant basis, I could totally see that being really fun. And something I could spend a lot of time with on and off stream for sure. So that's Valorant. We'll see where it goes from here.
Good to hear, man.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes.
For sure. For sure. We're due for a break. We should take that break. What else we got to talk about? Zeke, you've been playing a whole bunch of games. You got Indie Sunday. You played some Miss Bits.
Miss Bits, yep.
Which we can talk about. Co,
what about Complex? I got lots of games.
Co, you're playing some Control DLC. What else have you been? Oh, fucking Resident Evil 3 came out, and we played and finished that. That's right.
In a sitting. That's not easy for me.
I'm guessing that I forgot about that if I like, when you give me a warning, you're going to talk about RE3, and I'll just put like 7 minutes on the clock, and then I'll come back once you're done talking about the entire game.
Probably. Yeah. I forgot Resident Evil 3 was a thing. Let's take a break. We'll come back and probably start with that, and then jump into some other stuff as well. So don't go there. We got more drop frames coming up right after this. We'll see you guys then.